Hello, my dear church boys, and welcome back to Saint Forward's Daygame Podcast. And in this podcast episode, we're going to talk about a forbidden topic, a topic we do not even discuss on our Daygame Church group chat. We're going to talk about online dating. We're going to talk about Tinder, because when I was going to Latin America, I heard that online dating actually works really, really well in Latin America. So I thought, well, I'll give it a try. So I tried it a little bit in Colombia, I tried it a little bit in Argentina, and then when I came back to Latvia, I gave it a try in Latvia here. I did pretty well in all of these countries, but of course, it's not all as shiny as it seems. So in this episode, I'm going to tell you how, in my opinion, online dating, even if you have good game, compares to Daygame. And before we get into this topic, of course, as always, a few updates about what's going on, where I am, coaching spots, etc. I am again in Riga, Latvia, after spending a bit of time in Budapest, Hungary, where I went to coach a student and filmed a vlog about what to expect from Daygame if you are going to Budapest. So check it out on my YouTube channel if you're thinking about going to Budapest. I'll be here for a little while, but then I'm going to Poland late July. I will have 1 3-day coaching spot available in Poland. What is Daygame like in Poland? Well, it's definitely easier, much easier than places like Budapest. It's easier than Riga. I'm not even talking about New York City, or London, or Belgrade, Serbia. It's maybe slightly harder than Czech Republic, than Prague, although with less Russian tourists being in Europe right now, I might even prefer Poland over Prague in Czech Republic, just because Poland gets tourists from all over the world, and and the local girls are beautiful, and it's full with Ukrainians. So I think Poland is really an amazing location for Daygame. So I'm going to be there, and I have 1 3-day coaching spot available there. I am booked all of August. But then in September, me and a few students, we have decided to go to a more interesting Daygame location, still very close, only a short flight away. You could say it's in Europe, although that's like a 50-50 question. It's full with tourists from very, very many different countries, full with hot girls from all over the world. I will have 3 coaching spots available there, but only 1 coaching spot is left. The other 2 are already booked. So if you want to learn Daygame in any of these locations with me, then there's a link in description where you can read more about how coaching is happening. You can fill the form at the bottom of the page, and I'll get back to you with all the details, the cities, the dates, the prices, etc. And now, okay, let's talk about online dating. So I've tried it here and there in many places that I've traveled to, mostly in Colombia, in Argentina, and I tried it a little bit in Riga, of course a little bit in Kharkiv when I was living there. I did get 6 lays in Colombia from online, 6 in Argentina, and actually 6 in Riga, which is a lot, because it's like online is much harder in places in EU and US. And a few other Daygamers I know experimented with online, and when you get to a certain level of skill set, or whatever we want to call it, in Daygame or in other forms of dating, it actually translates pretty well to online, just because you understand how things work, and then you just got to do the same thing on a different medium. So we were all doing pretty decent online, but that being said, we all came to similar conclusions, and they're not the most positive ones, as you could have guessed already. First, let me clarify one thing before we get into the weeds. I don't think there is anything wrong with online dating if you are happy with who you are going on dates with, who you're sleeping with, who your regulars are, who you're building a relationship with. You do you. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But you have to understand one thing. When guys who are doing online dating, when they tell you that they're sleeping with hot girls from online dating, those statements are not reliable. You will hear them say, oh yeah, I went on a date and she was a proper 8 or a 9. Oh my God, this girl was a dime. She's 10. She's so hot. Oh yeah, I got laid with her. Oh, blah, blah, blah. All of this nonsense, yeah? All of these statements are not reliable. Why? Because you hear guys who do online dating telling those stories, making those statements that she was an 8, a 9, a 10, whatever you wanna call that. but you don't hear good day gamers or not only day gamers, but guys with good kind of dating skills, seduction skills in other mediums. And then when those guys try online dating, you don't hear them, and when they do really well on online dating as well, you don't hear them calling those girls like 8s, 9s, and 10s and whatnot. And why is that? Because once you learn to meet girls everywhere you go, whether it's street or shopping mall or like posh malls, and when you learn to approach the hottest girls around you, you get a more realistic understanding what is actually considered hot, what is actually considered an 8, a 9, a 10 when you travel the world to places like, I don't know, when you go to Ukraine, to some other Ukraine, when you go to Latin America, you really see what real quality is like, and then you stop making these ridiculous statements that, oh, I saw a 10, I saw a 9, I saw an 8. So whenever you hear someone bragging about their online results, you have to understand that their numbers, their rating scale is very, very different than that another good seducer in different medium would have. But of course, as always in any topic, there are rare exceptions. There are guys that are getting laid with beautiful girls online. I know some of those guys, but that's a very rare exception. They are getting with pretty decent girls. But the question again is, how are those guys getting laid? How do those guys look? What lifestyle they look? What lifestyle they're living? And when you take into consideration the guys that I'm talking about, then you can ask yourself a question. Well, are these hot girls they're getting laid with still, are they much younger and hotter than these guys? Well, once in a while, yes, but in general, absolutely no. So if you're happy with your online girls, keep doing it. Don't fix what ain't broken. But if while browsing not safe for work Reddits, you wonder, I've been with a few girls, but I've never seen tits like in these pictures, or I've never had two hot girls like these give me a double blowjob at the same time. Well, if you have higher aspirations to get something better than what you've been able to get online, maybe you can achieve those goals with Daygame. Before we get into trashing Tinder even more, let's talk about some things that Tinder is great for, and I have 4 points that I really like about Tinder. If you are into ropes, your profile will stand out and you will get matches with younger girls who are interested in that. I am 34. I've met a bunch of girls in their early 20s who are curious about ropes, who want to try ropes, who have maybe tried ropes but had bad experiences just because the guys they tried them with didn't really know what they're doing. So if you are into that stuff and you put it up in your profile in a way that says this guy knows what he is doing, then well, you do have opportunities to meet some pretty decent girls, some of them actually pretty damn beautiful, pretty damn interesting. So that's point number 1. Point number 2, if you are maybe in some places in Latin America, definitely not all of those places, there are select places where it worked pretty well. So if you're there and you want to get laid with decent but not crazy hot girls, Tinder can easily get you there. In Medellin, I had girls come over to my place, just straight over to my place. I didn't go on a single date in Medellin from online, just because they would agree to come straight to my place. Well, that being said, you can also get easily robbed in Latin America through Tinder if you go to girl's place, if you meet her outside the most touristic, safe areas. Though safe is a relative term in Latin America, but if you don't know how things work and if you're not careful enough, and sometimes even if you are careful enough, you can easily get robbed as well, of course. Point number 3, if you have an image of a badass BDSM dude with good pictures and you have to be creating that persona that you are that dude. So if you have that and you want to meet cam girls, OnlyFans girls, some girls that are sugar babies, not with you but with other guys, maybe, okay, again, not the hottest cam girls, not the hottest OnlyFans girls, and not the world's hottest sugar babies, yeah? But girls who are doing that, who are doing pretty fine and still are beautiful, You can easily again do that on Tinder if you have created that image. When you have created that image, you will attract a certain type of girl. So yes, in Latin America, I did meet like cam girls and all of that, and I was hanging out with them. They were coming straight over to my place. They were fairly kinky. You can have amazing adventures. I actually interviewed one of those girls on my podcast. But I don't remember the podcast episode. If you want to listen to that, you're just going to have to look at the older podcast episodes or just search Cam Girl or OnlyFans Girl and you should find that episode. But point number 4, and this is the most important thing, this is one reason I actually think Tinder is a really, really good idea if you are going to Latin America, whether that is maybe some Spanish-speaking places or even if you're going to Brazil, maybe. I haven't been there though, so this is just my opinion. That hasn't been backed up when I'm talking to Brazil, but with Spanish-speaking countries, what I used Tinder for was very, very simple. I was learning Spanish with some online audio courses, and I had private classes. But my Spanish wasn't good enough to do day game sets. I couldn't even really go on dates. My Spanish was really, really simple, nowhere near good enough to do a day game set. So what I would do online, and I would chat there in Spanish. And what do you use in online? You tell some stories, you do some teases, you maybe can even do some stacking, you look like this or that. And when you are chatting with someone online, you are basically learning and polishing the same lines you're gonna use on your day game dates, on your day game sets. And when you're doing an online date in Spanish and girl doesn't speak English and you speak barely any Spanish, maybe she understands a little bit of English. So what you're doing is you're going on a date and you're practicing your Spanish in a much lower stress environment. In a day game set, you always kind of have to, especially in the beginning of a set, you have to keep that tension kind of to make sure that she doesn't leave. Whereas on a date, you are already there, you are chilling, you're having your drinks, and she's not going to leave if you're going to be really struggling with your Spanish. So that's what Tinder is really, really good for, to practice your day game stuff while you're texting. But when you go on a date, you are practicing your storytelling, you're learning to understand what she's saying, and all of that stuff. So these are 4 reasons I think Tinder is actually pretty cool in the right setting. Okay, enough saying good things about Tinder. Let's start trashing it, or kind of let's talk about the realities that I faced and that my friends faced, and let's talk about also some statistics that I found online about Tinder. One thing again to mention is we're not talking about free Tinder accounts. We're not even talking about gold, because all that gold gets you is you just see who likes you, and well, for specific reasons that you're gonna see a bit later in this podcast, you're gonna understand why not a lot of girls are gonna like you. The one thing platinum gives your likes a priority. So when you like someone, your profile is the first profile that they see. So it just kind of puts you ahead of the queue, so to say. So unless you're doing platinum, it's sort of like platinum or go home and that's it. I don't think there is any reason to do Tinder if you're not doing that. So again, this becomes gonna pay for not even play, but pay for being in a playing field type of thing, which is kind of weird. Okay, the next thing is if you think about a really hot girl, she's beautiful, she's interesting, she's fun, she's intelligent, then a girl like that will get a lot of attention. She will have guys hitting on her at her work, her colleagues, maybe her customers if she works in like any service industry. She goes to the gym, someone's hitting on her there. She goes to bar with her friends, someone's hitting on her there. Some day gamers are stopping her. Guys are sliding into her DMs with offers to have her as a whatever, like a sugar baby or whatever. Oh, speaking of that, there's a hilarious thing. My girl just received a message on Instagram. Let me read it. Hi dear, how are you doing? I'll love to ask. I love to politely ask if you could be my sugar baby, and I need nothing sexual in return, just cool conversations. So I am dating a very cool, very hot girl, and and this is the type of shit she just received in her DMs. So any hot girl is receiving stuff like that in her DMs. Someone is hitting her all the time. So let me ask you, if she is getting so much attention, what would she be doing on Tinder? Why would she even be there? What's the point of that? She doesn't need that. So the hottest, most interesting girls in most cases aren't using online dating apps just because they are getting a lot of attention in other places, maybe with exceptions of extreme introverts who don't really like talking to people. But yes, hotter girls get much more attention, a lot of attention everywhere else, so they don't really need online dating. Next thing, I was Googling about this, but I couldn't find this information, so Tinder hasn't published it. But so this is just speculation, and I was thinking about what's the average lifespan of a Tinder profile. Because very often I meet girls and they have just registered online, just registered on Tinder, or maybe when I go out with them, they said, yeah, they were there, but they said, yeah, but I deleted it after 2 days. I deleted it after 1 day, after one evening, because they get so many stupid messages and it's kind of so bad that I think that the average lifespan of a Tinder profile of a beautiful girl or average, whatever, like anything decent, is very, very short. I'm not sure about this information. I couldn't find this information online, but I do get a feeling like that. Also, you will see many profiles saying stuff like, oh, I installed this for the 6th time, or anything like that. Saying that, yeah, I keep installing and deleting this app. So again, that kind of makes you think, why is that the case? And now let's go to some statistics that I found online, because when I was Googling about the average lifespan of a Tinder profile, I found some pretty disturbing statistics that Tinder has released. Number one, the craziest of all the statistics, I was shocked when I saw this. 75% of Tinder users are male. So there are three times as many guys on Tinder as there are girls. And well, I think you can understand what that means. It just means the same thing as in a bar, the same thing as guys hitting on girls on Instagram or wherever else. Yeah, it's what everyone else is doing. There's so many guys, but there aren't a lot of girls. While at the same time, oh my god, probably still those girls that aren't on Tinder are dating someone, are sleeping with someone. How does that happen? Where do they meet those guys? Maybe those are guys with the balls that are somewhere else. Next interesting statistic that I found is that 13% of adults in the US between 18 and 65 have used Tinder as of April 2020. Only 13%, that is not a lot, and if we assume that the average lifespan is pretty short of a Tinder profile, obviously it's a weird statistic as it goes all the way up to 65, and maybe we could look at 18 to 30, but I couldn't find that data. So in general, not a lot of people are using Tinder, but not as much as we would expect. And then you add the fact that 75% of Tinder users are male, and then you can kind of think of, hey, how many girls are actually on Tinder? And when I swiped in Latvia, and Riga is such a small place that in 2 evenings you can swipe through all of Riga, I saw very few girls I know actually, so I was very surprised about that. Next interesting statistic was about the average age of users in Tinder, and I found some conflicting information here. So one information I found says that 35% of Tinder users are between 18 and 24. That is, of course, very good statistic. It means it's full with young people. This wasn't divided by gender, so I don't know what's with that. So 35% are young, and then you have 25 to 34, which is 25%. And if you are in your like mid 30s or like 40 something, then you're probably going to be fine with going out girls all the way up to 34 if you are in your 40s. So that puts that population of Tinder as 60% of all the user base. But another poll revealed that adults 30 to 44 in the US were most active on Tinder. But this is a poll, so I don't think that's as reliable, especially because it goes completely against what the stats released by Tinder go, because Tinder says it's younger people and the poll says it's older people, and poll is not really a reliable way to look at the data. Another stat I found that in 2021, over 50% of Tinder users in US are between 18 and 25 years old. So that's, I think, not that bad actually. But let me put all these statistics in a picture as I see it. Most likely you are from late 20s to late 40s. That's my main kind of, most people that follow me are kind of that age group. I do have some followers who are like in their early 20s, but that's kind of like a smaller percentage. And of course, there's some guys in like way over 50. But the main audience will be like late 20s to late 40s, and even that is pretty broad. So if you are in that age group, and you, of course, want to meet girls that are kind of younger than you, of course. So let's say 18 to mid-20s, maybe late 20s if you are in your 40s. Well, yes, that is the audience that you can find on Tinder. But at the same time, Tinder is what's a lot about pictures and how interesting your lifestyle is. And most of the users are guys. So you are competing with young dudes in the same age group as these girls who are probably doing some fun shit. A lot of them, of course, as everyone else, is boring, but you are competing with people that are younger than you, that because of that are still maybe better looking than you, especially if you are on the older side of the equation. And then you look at older guys on Tinder who are swiping on younger girls. A lot of them probably will be playing money game. So you are up against, I wouldn't say a tough competition, but unless you can really separate you from the crowd, I don't see those as really good odds, and that's not a game I personally choose to play. Okay, now let's move to some conversation about kind of the bigger picture, and also very importantly the mental game of using Tinder, the effects on what you could call mental health or whatever. I don't know how to call it. You are getting many negative reference experiences on Tinder. So what is beautiful about Daygame is when you overcome your approach anxiety and you start approaching girls, of course you will have a lot of blowouts, a lot of negative reactions, but you will slowly start getting more and more girls that are happy to being stopped and are giving you their numbers, and maybe you start maybe they start responding and you start going on dates, and all of those are nice, beautiful reference experiences, whereas Tinder gives you many negative reference experiences. Girls not responding, you swiping so much and not getting any matches, girls not being nice to you, so you just start feeling worse, and this is something that I've heard from many guys. And since you are just another guy from Tinder, which is, by the way, something you can very feel online, girls aren't as nice in texting. They're a little bit harsh. Whereas Daygame puts you on a pedestal. You are the guy who not only approached her on the street, because she's getting approached on the street. Don't worry about it. If you're in any decent city, girls are being approached on the street. But you were the guy whose game was so nice that she liked it, she gave you her number, and now she's texting with you. You are on a pedestal. You're not just another dude that who's basically disposable, because she can just talk to the next match, and if you don't respond fast enough, maybe she just stops responding at all because someone else kind of swoops in and goes on a date with her, and she starts banging that dude, and then she's like, well, I'm banging some dude, whatever, I don't need Tinder anymore, because, so it's again a negative. This again has negative effect on your mental state, just getting these harsher reactions, and of course it makes you lazier when it comes to Daygame. You're not hungry anymore. You ate McDonald's, So why would you cook that healthy, nice meal that you will really, really like? You got something and you're not horny anymore, so it definitely makes you lazier when it comes to going out and actually doing the volume necessary to get decent at day game. So all of this in conclusion basically comes to the fact that guys online are meeting girls that, of course with some exceptions, aren't hot and interesting enough to get enough attention elsewhere, and they're doing this in an environment where there is 3 times more guys than girls, and in most cases girls they are meeting aren't even younger and hotter than the guys are. You have so many matches that don't respond or stop responding or don't come out because they're just chatting but don't really want to go out. They look different than their pictures. They're more princessy. You have a lot of negative things happening that all affect your mental state. But as I said before, as I said in the beginning of this podcast, if you are happy with that, if you're happy with the results you're getting online, don't fix what ain't broken. But if you hear the crazy stories that I tell my friends and my students are having, and you're thinking, oh my God, that's amazing. Well, the fact is, many of you guys can also get there. Actually, the one thing I realized is, kind of the more day gamers I met, the more I realized is that people hear the stories about these crazy adventures, like the same day lays and I don't know, crazy hot girls and threesomes. And when guys hear those stories on podcasts, they don't associate themselves with those stories because they don't even understand that those stories can happen to them as well. It seems like a different reality for different people. Guys don't understand that they can also be part of this experience, and this is what I see a lot with students. When a student who has heard these stories but never thought they could happen to him goes out for a day game session and gets that first same day lay or like something like that, or like gets his first threesome, it's just, to them it's incredibly eye-opening because they never thought they could have same day lays and maybe meet hotter girls or have threesomes. It is life-changing for them. If you learn how Tinder works, Tinder is easy, but you get what you pay for, so to say. Day game is hard. Day game isn't just hard, but you also have to find the right material to learn from and the right way to implement the material. You have to fix your mental game. You have to understand what mistakes you're making and how to fix them. Well, but if only there was a video series online with step-by-step instructions on all technicalities you to know about the day game set. Oh my God, if only there was something like that called the Structured Natural Approach video series, or if only there was a podcast guiding you through most pitfalls you'll face when learning day game. And if that doesn't help, if only there was someone who could listen to your sets and point out the exact mistakes you're making and tell you exactly how to fix them. If only. That would make day game learning so much easier. So guys, what I want to say with all of this, next time you're browsing not safe for work Reddits and looking at those stats and thinking, damn, I've never seen anything like that. Well, remember that there are guys who are fucking the same girls you're looking at or girls just like those, and that someone's tired from fucking those girls. The question is, are you gonna be the guy doing online dating and sleeping with whoever you're sleeping there with anything, and watching all of that stuff online and sitting in your room comfortably thinking about those girls? Or are you gonna be a guy who will figure out this extremely hard thing, like, because it is hard to learn? Are you gonna be one of the guys who figures it out, who cracks it, and who's actually banging those girls or girls like that you see on those not safe for work Reddits? Unless you're learning Spanish and want to go on dates to practice your Spanish, there is zero value Tinder is adding to your dating life, so it's time to uninstall that on all the other apps. Well guys, this is everything I wanted to say about online dating, about Tinder and all the other apps. As always, you know where I'm going. One coaching spot available late July in Poland with beautiful Polish and Ukrainian girls and a bunch of tourists from everywhere. And in September, one spot in a nice, a little bit exotic, warm location, full with tourists from all over the world. If you want to find out more about the coaching spots, click on the link in the description, read everything there. Shoot me an email by filling the form at the bottom of the page and I'll get back to you with all the information. If everything seems okay, we will hop on a short WhatsApp call to talk all the details. Thanks for listening, guys. As always, if you like this podcast episode and if you think this was valuable for you as someone who maybe uses online dating apps, then well, your friends who are thinking about trying out Daygame, haven't tried it or aren't serious enough about it because they are doing online dating and sleeping with average girls there, just forward them this episode. Thank you for listening, guys. See you in the next podcast. Ciao.